Yeah. I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won one. Yeah. I hope my team they won one. Yeah. Man. I hope my team they won one. I hope my team they won one. Yeah. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with this hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
And welcome in episode 501 here on Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. I am your Don Strunk, if you will, your number 2 moving into the number 1 chair, Charles Bishop, along with my co-host Mike Washington. And of course, you've seen this young man on with us before, tremendous journalist. Whenever I'm in the press box or on the press row, he's right over there beside me, Wilton Jackson, man. Welcome back in to the show.
Glad to be here.
Man, I tell you what, a lot of stuff to get to in terms of sports within HBCU news and just sports in general. But I mean, man, I tell my students all the time, Wilton, Mike, you know, we are living in some unprecedented days in terms of when you're talking about sports. Huge night in the sports world, even last night when you talk about the WNBA Draft. The talk of the sports world in terms of what everything is going on in that regards. Of course, we got HBCU news tied into that as Angel Jackson was drafted by the Las Vegas Aces last night. But I mean, so many different directions to go in, and we're going to get into all of that. Of course, we got baseball to talk about. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the spring practices, and we'll talk a little bit about the NBA playoffs. But Mike, man, how was your weekend? If I can get Mike up, Wilton, how about yourself, man? How was your weekend, bro?
My weekend was pretty good.
Sorry about that.
Hold on.
Sorry about that. I'm getting the spinning thing of death. So. My weekend was great. Had a chance to catch out some spring football. PVAMU. I know TSU had some spring events going on, but who cares about that other school? They doing their thing. So I was there. We're able to see some of the talent at that PVU has to offer. Catch the draft. Had a restful weekend, as short as it was, but ready to get back to it. So I appreciate it, CB.
Oh, no doubt. Wilton, how about yourself, bro? As you can see, I'm in a little bit of violation here. But I understand.
You know, Charles, I don't think nobody gonna say nothing to you. I mean, you Jackson State through and through, so I don't think.
I don't know. Sometimes a little bit I love purity can be tested. So,
I'm gonna say something.
Oh, I do. I know how it goes, but I think for me,
I'll say something.
This weekend for me was pretty kind of relaxed. Just got a chance to catch some sports. Watched a little bit of the Masters. Like Mike said, some of the spring games, kind of following, seeing what I was hearing from that. And then just really preparing for the WNBA Draft. I was in New York last night, got a chance to see it front and center. A lot of things happened with that. So that was pretty much my weekend.
No doubt about it. I mean, we're going to get into a little bit of that because you have watched Angel Jackson up close and personal. I have as well in terms of the type of caliber player that the Las Vegas Aces are going to be getting. But we'll start off with a little bit of news and notes. And unfortunately, we have to start off today on a bit of a somber note. As this past Sunday morning, tragedy at Tennessee State, Shazan Page was hit and killed by a vehicle while crossing the street in Nashville. Local police indicated that the vehicle involved was described as either a red sedan or a small SUV. A red vehicle with extensive damage to its front was seen leaving the area of the incident at a high rate of speed. Shazan Page was only 20 years old, so Tennessee State Director of Athletics, Dr. Mickey Allen, he acknowledged Page's death, and this is a quote from, of course, Dr. Allen. Shazan will be deeply missed by our Big Blue family. as he was a phenomenal young man and leader who made everyone around him better. So our thoughts and prayers. We start off today with thoughts and prayers to the Tennessee State Big Blue family. Unspeakable tragedy. Anytime a young black man loses his life at this stage in life, it really hits you differently. And I just wanted to just extend those thoughts and prayers to Tennessee State.
Yeah, if I may add, I happen to be traveling here I was here in Nashville last night, and I'm here in Kentucky, and it was a big deal story. And here's the kicker: he leaned over to protect his girlfriend that he was walking with from the vehicle, who she said was speeding astronomically. She said 100 miles an hour, but whatever the case, the beating was. He leaned over to protect her and push her out the way. That's that. If I know nothing else about this young man, I know something about his character. Right. So just a tremendous loss.
No doubt about it. I mean, and unfortunately, just hours earlier, he had played in Tennessee State's spring game, and then for this unspeakable tragedy to happen. I tell you what, Wilton, it's always it hits different when young men lose their life at this stage of their life. I mean, we've all been in the classroom. And these young people are so full of energy and vigor. Unspeakable tragedy, Will.
Absolutely. Charles, you talk about being in the classroom and talking to young students. I have that experience as well. And it's just like, it reminds you of when your parents told you when you were kids, like when you thought you were grown at 18, 19, 20, 21, they always saying, they always remind you to be careful and watch your surroundings, be careful who you hang out with. Different things like that, because you just never know what type of issues you might find yourself in, and even if it's not your fault or what have you, you just always want to be able to watch your surroundings. And so I think about a young man like him, just like you said, just got through playing in the spring game, a bright future. Obviously, you just hate to lose people in general, but more so for sure another young black man that had a promising future. That was going to be under Coach George this year. So, prayers out to him, his family, and the entire Tennessee State community.
Absolutely, man. That is a tough way to start episode 501, but we had to acknowledge his presence and his death. And like I said, Dr. Mickey Allen, I'm sure they'll get more information out in regards to his funeral arrangements. We're going to shift gears slightly here. WNBA Draft last night. Of course, we talked about it initially. Angel Jackson drafted by number 36 by Las Vegas Aces. Huge night for Tamika Reed again. She has another one of her players drafted, second one in 3 years. Of course, Amisha Williams-Holiday back in 2022. But Angel Jackson, and we all watched her this past 2-3 seasons, I believe, at Jackson State. You talk about a rim protector, a force down low, definitely worthy of getting professional consideration. Will.
Absolutely, Charles. Like when I watched her that first year at Jackson State, and I can remember Coach Reed talking to her or talking to me about her, how she had to kind of find her way when Amisha kind of like finding her way within the program, obviously coming from a Pac-12 program like Cal. And, a lot of people may forget this is a former McDonald's All-American, stellar athlete. And I think this year we saw what we really wanted to see in the previous year. We saw all complete forms of her game this year. You're talking about somebody, like you said, that can protect the rim, but more so than anything, we saw her take advantage of the scoring opportunities this year too, especially in that SWAC tournament game when they needed her to step up to score. And believe it or not, you saw glimpses of it against UConn as well. And even Coach Gino Auriemma, he mentioned her in the post-game press conference when I was there for that particular game. He said that obviously that he credited her game, and for Jackson State, although Jackson State lost the game, he credited her performance. And so it's no surprise that she gets an opportunity to compete for a roster spot in the WNBA. And like I said, it shows that what Tamika Reed is building at Jackson State, second player to get drafted into the WNBA, but it's going to be a tough time. I mean, right now you're talking about a stacked Aces team, back-to-back champions. They have 18 players on their rosters right now. If you know anything about the WNBA, 12, it's only 12 players to a roster, so it's not going to be to where everybody can fit, which is sad because it's just so much talent in the WNBA, and those players, those ladies deserve roster spots.
Mike, go for it, man. You were talking about Angel Jackson. Yeah. She had a stellar career at Jackson State.
Angel was a beast. There's no better word. I wish there was a more descriptive term, but she was a beast. The question on the table is, I think, Wilton, you had it. She's on a stacked roster. Can she ball with the ballers? I think she can personally, but can she ball with the ballers? They're only going to accept 12, 13 if you consider reserve roster, actual roster. I think she can. I think you have. I think what Tamika Reed has built is phenomenal. But there have been some questions that come up. If you watch ESPN, say, can she ball with this group? Absolutely, she can. But I'd like to get y'all's thoughts because y'all followed her closer than I did.
Oh, we absolutely follow, and we're going to get into even more of that talk. We're going to bring Kris Gardner, the Houston Round Ball Review. He's going to come in and talk to us a little bit more about that WNBA draft, as well as give us a little bit of some prognostications, if you will, for the NBA playoffs as things jump off tonight with regards to the NBA play-in. Switch gears a little bit here. A little baseball over the weekend. We had some great games around the diamond, especially looking at the SWAC. FAMU, they went into Mississippi Valley, took 3 from the Valley Delta Devils, all football scores, double-digit scores there. We also had Jackson State took 2 or 3 from Alabama A&M, but that game in the middle, 22-17. I think TC Taylor and Coach Maynard were coaching those games, but that was game 2 of Jackson State and Alabama A&M. Southern, they go up to Grambling, they take 3 from a hard-hitting Grambling baseball team. And then you also had very interesting Alabama State. They took 2 or 3 from Bethune-Cookman. Talked about Bethune-Cookman being a hot team going into that game.
Don't forget about the Texas team. Don't forget about that Texas team.
Definitely can't forget about the Texas team as Texas Southern. They swept UAPB. And what else happened this weekend, Mike?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did something happen? I missed it. I'm sorry. Did something happen? I'm sorry. Did someone check the press? Or what? Is PB not on a 3-game winning streak?
They are on a 3-game winning streak. Shout out to Prairie View getting it done against Alcorn this past weekend. So a lot of great action in and around the SWAC. We switch gears as Kyle T. Mosley, HBCU himself.
What's going on, guys?
What's going on with you, brother?
What's happening? I see you got Wilt.
What's going on, Kyle?
Hey,
what's going on, Wilt? What's happening, Mike?
Hey, what's going on, Kyle?
I call Wilton James Brown, man. He's one of the hardest working men.
Hey, Will got me feeling, Will got me feeling self-conscious about how I look on this. He got the handkerchief. He got the
Hey, I just want to be like Charles when I grow up.
All he's missing is the ascot, man. I'm like, man, Will.
Mike, he brought that out a couple of times on my program. Yeah, so and he had that little flower on the side.
Yeah,
he got me feeling some kind of way here. I'm like,
oh boy, those damn Kappas. Oh, I tell you.
I'm like, man, Will got me feeling all up in my emotions up in there.
Man, welcome in, Kyle. Man,
how you doing?
Doing well. You had an opportunity to watch Texas Southern up close and personal this weekend. Kris Dishman brings out the Maroon and Gray Tigers for a look-see this past spring. What did you see out there this past weekend, brother?
Saw basic football, and that's what they were trying to run. Just basic football, enough to kind of thrill the fans, get people motivated for the upcoming season. You did see Kris Dishman take control of his team, but that's a good thing, right? He came in with an opportunity to kind of usher in the Kris Dishman era at Texas Southern. He told those young men there's a lot to be played. There's still a lot of roster spots. As he told the media, it's still 11 roster spots on offense and 11 on defense that needs to be filled. So this Texas Southern team is still evolving. And right now, Kris Dishman, he's the man.
No doubt. And I'm going to throw this question out for the panel as a whole, because I remember a time when we kind of looked forward to the spring game because the graduating seniors, they were gone, and the 2s became the 1s and the 3s became the 2s. And you didn't have, as Dr. Cavil affectionately calls it the roster training that we see now, especially with guys entering the transfer portal and things of the nature. But has the spring game kind of fundamentally changed? Because I think you got a lot of fans, they will kind of do a twofer. It's like, Coach, you look good. Is that all? Is there anything else coming? Right. So, that sort of happens. But the question, I guess, for the group, and Mike, we can start off with you. Has the spring game, has it fundamentally changed?
Absolutely. I was there at the Prairie View game, and the overwhelming majority of comment and sentiment was, well, they look great, but you still got this person coming. You still got this person. You got this recruiting class coming. And so they're going to still have to battle. This looks good, but what have you done for me lately? They knew, most of the folks that are there, they knew that this was going to be there. You got a few transfers, at least in Prairie View spot. I was looking at TSU. A few things changed, but it wasn't good. But it's changed the lens by which we look at spring practice. It used to be, is it a good game? Now it's good, but what are they going to do to get ready for the fall? I think the narrative has changed.
Wilton, we were both at the Jackson State spring game. Sort of what were your impressions? Because I know for me now, I kind of get to the spring game and I'm kind of looking around for the food trucks, to see what else is going on and, to see if they're doing any branding or marketing or anything of that nature. And the game is there. But, you give me your thoughts in regards to what you see now for the spring game.
I mean, you talked about the food truck. I mean, I was just enjoying the boom and all the other high school students they had playing along with them. So that was a thrill for me. But no, more so than anything, I think that you talk about the change in the look of a spring game. You're no longer getting, what you're going to see in the fall. And that's what Mike alluded to. We've been accustomed to seeing like, okay, well, you had a quarterback that sat on the bench that was waiting his opportunity for 2 years. It's like, okay, by his junior year, it's time to start. Well, like you said, Charles, we were sitting in that press conference, listening to TC talk. And how many players did he say that the team was missing on both sides of the ball? Because as a matter of fact, you talk about players that he wants to still add. How many players did he mention from the special teams aspect? Because he didn't want to go through what Jackson State went through last year in terms of missing out on a kicker or a punter. So you really don't know what full players that you're going to have on your roster yet until essentially when you get back for summer training, once you kind of figure out what that's going to look like and really just getting into the fall. And it's just like you're getting literally a shell of like, here's the talent that we have, but we have other players coming. And a lot of that, which is what you allude to, just, players jumping in and out of the portal. And like, that's not going anywhere. It's still going on now, and so it's going to continue to be that way. And I think you're going to see the luster that we once maybe saw from a spring game, say maybe 7-8 years ago, going forward, you're never going to truly know what it's going to look like.
I have to jump in here. Well, and I agree with you. I think spring games are more promotional games, right? And it's to really get the fans riled up again, kind of re-energized and re-interested in football. It's not about the players that are going to be there, because quite frankly, some of those young men who were out on the field, like you say, either enter the transfer portal or they go to other squads somewhere or may not be back at that institution. So, Chris Dishman did talk about the fact that he's got several highly thought of recruits that will be coming to Texas Southern. So he's not ready to say, Jace Wilson, who was the newcomer of the year last season, is my starting quarterback. He said everyone has to renew their job. Yeah. And if they're able to do so, then they're going to be able to start. But he said, like week 1, week 2, we may have certain new starters then. Week 3, we may have new starters then. So it's going to be always evolving there at Texas Southern.
Speaking of evolving, and I was really curious about this in terms of you guys' thoughts in terms of how the spring game, we know the gameplay is going to be milquetoast at best, but what are some innovative ideas in terms of how schools can go about promotional activities to get their fan base fired up for the upcoming season?
Yeah, I think there was a joke, but I mean, Prairie View tried something, and I think the first step was plausible. And they tried, they had food trucks, they had a DJ there. They made it a game day family experience. So if it didn't do anything else, it kind of jarred the interest level. And I think it's going to take a couple of iterations. But, last year, for instance, you went to Prairie View's spring game. It was just a spring game, and that was it. You had left with that same sentiment. Well, they got a quarterback, but we know they're going to bring 2 in from recruiting. So you don't know. This year, it was that sentiment. Plus, you had the band there. Plus, you had food trucks. Plus, you had kind of squared off tailgating areas. There were actually tailgating stands. So they created, dare I say, a fall pseudo homecoming to a smaller degree environment. To me, that's a nominal change, but I think that's something that schools should build off of.
No doubt. Wilton, go for it.
I think, Charles, like looking at Jackson, well, I'll say this, and I think we talked about this as well. Like the previous year, Jackson State spring game, it was pretty desolate, but this year it was a pretty decent crowd from from that previous year. But like I said, and I talked about this, the band, like they had high school students there. I actually like that, in terms of combining those students with the moment playing. But like I'm like Mike, like being able to maybe like tailgate. Because I actually thought that would have been part of the experience, but I felt like this year too, specifically looking at Jackson State, there were some opportunities where I just kind of feel like it wasn't promoted as much as usual, and so maybe that's an option to where, like, if you want people to come to the spring game, knowing that obviously the key players or all the players may not be on that team specifically right then, like you got to promote it more and give them something else to keep the fans engaged.
No doubt.
One thing, Charles. I'm sorry, was it? Just to build on that point, let me get that in real quick. Promoted, it was really great, but there was sentiment about if you want to promote let's get some younger 20-year-olds to promote this environment to a 30-year-old's environment. I'm sorry, Kyle, I had to do it, but there was a lot of talk about that. The person that promoted this was kind of someone in the older generation. I think if you had somebody younger, from a marketing standpoint, you would have generated more interest. It was good, but next step, let's get some younger folks into it.
Hey, be careful.
Mike's concerns about ADA, we're gonna have to go ahead and shelve that a little bit. But seriously, I think one thing also, you look at the NFL, they have to do something about that Pro Bowl game, right? They had to be able to re-engage the fan interest. And really at that spring game, I've been to many. How interested are you after probably a couple plays here or there, right? Why don't they have some of these events like one-on-ones, showcasing the quarterback's arm, and if they can get it to the receiver down the field and stuff like that, that's going to have people go, ooh, instead of just sitting there and wondering, what's the next step? What are they doing now? And why is that happening? Or why are they just on the goal line? Those are the things that I was hearing from the side. We had a young man he and his family drove in from Louisiana just to see this. We had a guy who flew in from Virginia because he's a Texas Southern alum to come down to see it. Give them something exciting to be able to see. Also, where was the ticket sales? Where was the season ticket packages? There was that lack of promotion there. I think they missed an opportunity, a golden opportunity, to put some seats, some people in the seats and be able to secure some season tickets. So those are some of the things that need to be a part of the whole marketing scheme.
See, be careful. Y'all gonna get way too innovative. The next thing y'all gonna start talking about is alternative uniforms, and we know how that plays.
Yeah.
So
retro uniform.
Yeah, we don't want to do that. We don't want to get too innovative. Think outside the box there.
Red.
Charles out of protocol.
Yeah, I'm out of protocol.
Man, you started the show out of protocol. When you gonna finish that?
You're running the muck. I'm gonna have to tell Doc.
Yeah, I know, right? You got that wayward student out there. Man, Kyle, man, it's always a pleasure for you to come in, man, and share your insights for the spring game. We're gonna bring you back in for not just HBCU news. We'll probably get into some other stuff in terms of looking at the pro game as well. So, man, always pick up the phone when you see Charles call, bro.
All right. Thank you, Charles. Thank you, Will. Thank you, Mike. Take care, guys.
I appreciate it, Kyle.
We'll take a quick break here on Inside the HBCU Sports Lab, and we'll come back. Let's talk a little basketball, a little more basketball with Kris Gardner, the Houston Roundball Review. We'll be right back.
We're back. It's time for the 2024 Urban NerdCon. Join us in Atlanta, Georgia, April 26th through the 28th at the Cortland Grand Hotel. Special guests include Underworld creator Kevin Grievous, Gary Gray from Fairly Odd Parents, from Nickelodeon, Giovanni Samuels, the Science Machine Michael Green, the Sci-Fi Sisters, and from Spaceballs and Star Trek Voyager, Tim Russ.
Hi, I'm Tim Russ. Join me April 26th through the 28th at the Cortland Grand Hotel in Atlanta, Georgia for the Urban NerdCon. Our heroes, our villains, our stories. Everyone con. I'll see you there. Live long and prosper.
Visit theurbannerdcon.net to get your buy one, get one free badges before the price increases. Remember, our heroes, our villains, our stories. Everyone's con. See you there.
If you think all pads are exactly the same, think again. This is Always Ultra Thins reinvented with the Always Triple Protection System. This pad wicks gushes 90% faster, absorbs even more so you can feel dry, and locks odors in. Rethink your pad for up to 100% leak-free and odor-free comfort with the totally reinvented Always Ultra Thins. This is always like never before.
The Cavil Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cavil.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
And welcome back into the Sports Lab. Charles Bishop and Wilton Jackson, of course, Big Mike in with us as well. And I tell you what, if the ball is bouncing, basketball is bouncing here in Houston, you got to bring this guy in. We'll talk a little WNBA, a little NBA. Kris Gardner from the Houston Roundball Review. Kris, welcome back into the Sports Lab, good brother.
Brothers, how y'all doing, man? Wilton Jackson, your new name. Welcome to the family, brother.
I appreciate it. How you doing, Kris?
I'm doing great, man. I'm honored to be on the show, CB.
No doubt, man. I had to bring you in. Of course, we have the HBCU tie-in with Angel Jackson being drafted by the Las Vegas Aces. But I tell my students all the time that we live in literally unprecedented sports times. WNBA Draft last night, tremendous interest in this draft class coming in. And I guess to throw the question out there, has the WNBA, do they have their sort of, I don't know, magic bird moment that has come upon them?
I hope so. I do hope so. And, you know, Caitlin Clark, who was it, Sports Media Watch, whatever, announced the numbers, ratings for last night a couple hours ago. 2.45 million viewers tuned in to the WNBA draft. So the Caitlin Clark effect continues. Her impact is just, college had a massive impact, and now she's taking it to the WNBA, and hopefully Angel Reese in Chicago will make a role. She's not the greatest offensive player in terms of skill set, low post scoring, but she still gets things done with rebound and hustle, heart, and all those good things that coaches love. And Teresa Weatherspoon's going to love her. I really believe that's a great matchup right there. Great pairing. Yeah.
When you take a look at this draft class, is there anyone who sticks out beyond Caitlin that you think can make an immediate impact in this league?
Wow, that's tough because, I mean, the WNBA draft is the WNBA is hard for rookies to make squads. You know, only got 12 spots and finances. Not every team carries 12 players. So that's going to be an issue. I think Cameron Brink with the Sparks in LA, she's going to have a great fit there. And she's got the blonde hair and all that kind of stuff too to fit in with LA, and that marketing part that will be great also. But in terms of her skill set, I think she'll do great with the Sparks also.
No doubt. Guys, go for it.
I think for me, outside of Kaylin, you look at Camila Cardoso, obviously going to be a teammate with Angel Reese. I was, like I said, at the draft last night, and she got asked the question, being a teammate with Angel Reese now, and she said, nobody's going to get rebounds on us, and that's so true. I mean, because you're talking about, just think about the battles that they had this year between South Carolina and LSU, but more than anything, they're going to make each other great within their own right. But, talk about getting coached by a legend of the WNBA space and Teresa Weatherspoon, and, and a Sky franchise is kind of rebuilding and retooling what that franchise is going to look like moving forward. And then also, you mentioned Cameron Brink. Cameron Brink is another player that's gonna have a good start that I believe is gonna have a good start to her rookie career. Also, Rakia Jackson. Don't forget about her. Started her career. Made one of her stops in her career at Mississippi State, so she has those Mississippi ties. But like Rakia is gonna be a problem. She was a bucket. She didn't always necessarily have all the help that she needed throughout the season. At Tennessee, but I think now stepping into this new phase of playing with more space in the WNBA, I think she's going to have a good career as well.
And Mike? I think Rakia, excuse me, CB, real quick, Mike.
Go for it.
I think Rakia, she could be a problem at the 2 guard because 6 feet. She played some at the 3 at Tennessee, but matching her up at the 2 guard with her skill set and overall game, that's a good call, Wilton.
So I hear this talk and. You listen to all the shows, folks, and who's going to be a 2 guard and who's backcourt and who's going to have rebounds. But on the other side of the coin, there's talk about the disparity in pay. You look at the NCAA game. There's 18.7 million people that tuned in to watch that championship game. That's way more than watch the men's game. You have bona fide stars now that are traversing the WNBA. The question on the table to me is this the curve for building that involvement, which in turn reflects itself in equity or more equitable pay for women's athletes, because they're truly garnering more reputation, more viewership. So where does that, is this the crop that does it? Think about the NBA of the early 80s. Is this the crop that does it?
Kris, when is the next collective bargaining agreement for the WNBA?
Next year.
Okay.
That's where it's going to start. And if I'm the commissioner, WNBA commissioner, Kathy Engelbert, I'm going to just ride the wave momentum and say to Adam Silver, an NBA commissioner, we're going to go our separate ways. We're going to try, see if we can get, in terms of media, ESPN, Prime, all the other TV networks. We're hot. We got Caitlin Clark. We got all these young, talented players. We're going to see what we can get with market bears in terms of money and overall TV revenue.
Are we at that inflection point with regards to women's basketball to where they can make that move?
We're going to find out. I hope so.
I think we're on the cutting edge of it, Charles. I don't know if it's exactly there right this second, as in like coming into the 2024 season, but I'm willing to bet I would probably take some money out of my account and going into the 2025 season to for sure say having seen players like Caitlin Clark go through her rookie season, Camila Cardoso, Angel Reese, even players like Deasia Fair, the third, leading scorer in women's college basketball history that went in the second round. Let me repeat that, in the second round from Syracuse. So you're talking about a very stellar group of players, within this draft. I think that by looking at them after their rookie season and what impact they're going to bring to their respective franchises in the league, I think you're going to see more and more growth and more viewership, and it's going to put some pressure on Kathy Engelbert to really, go off what she said that she was going to do. Because she mentioned yesterday in the opening press conference before the draft started that, she has a certain amount of teams she wants to be added. I think it's like 3 or 4 teams that she wants to be added within the next couple of years. Well, to be honest, I think that it was a missed opportunity because some of those teams I feel like could have been added maybe coming into this year as opposed to starting next year. So I'm just really interested to see if the WNBA holds to that, because this year by far the level of talent in this draft, to see and know that like the quality of players that got drafted may not be on roster spots when the season starts, not training camp, when the season starts.
Let me throw something out there at you all, because I think you've seen some comments. Diana Taurasi was up front. Is there a little bit of professional jealousy? You know, we talk about the talent within this draft class, but you know, got players already like, yeah, they're in for a whole rude awakening once they get here.
I won't call it jealousy. I think the veterans are happy the young ladies are now getting paid, because it's going to be a rising tide floats all boats. But I think the vets are going to show these rookies, I'm still a grown-up, an adult in the game. I'm a pro, you're a rookie. I'm going to show you what being a pro in the W is all about. I think that competition, competitiveness, yes. But money-wise, jealousy, no.
Yeah, I don't think it's jealousy either. And I just kind of want to reference something on Twitter. I can't remember the young lady who started this series of tweets or whatever, but they were talking about what was their, I guess, coming of age moment or their entrance to the WNBA moment. And believe it or not, a lot of players talked about, you know, having some type of interaction with Diana Taurasi or what have you. So it's just, you know, one of those things where it's like, I don't think that it's a space of jealousy. I think it's just more so the fact that, like, you had really great college careers, much like her and Sue Bird and Lauren Jackson and Candace Parker. The list goes on and on and on. But when you step into this new level of the WNBA, it's the ladies are stronger, faster. Like, defense is much harder. Like, it's, you know, not just the first layer of defense, the second layer of defense. Like, you know, and people thinking like, was Caitlin Clark's game going to translate to the WNBA? I absolutely think that it is, but at the same time, she's not going to be required to do all of the same things at the same magnitude that she had to do it at Iowa. She's going to have an Aaliyah Boston there that, you know, she's going to be setting picks and like pick and roll basketball in Indiana under you know, with general manager Lynn Dunn. I mean, that's fun. That's back to Indiana Fever basketball being very fun. That's just one example, but I just think it's more so the fact of making sure that they know that, like, it's a different level between college and the professional ranks.
Sure.
And let me say this. I think they're different players. Okay, Caitlin Clark and Sabrina Ionescu, but both were highly touted at college. It took Sabrina a while to get it going in the pros. It takes all rookies.
Kelsey Plum too.
Most
Kelsey
rookies,
Plum, yeah,
male or female. It's going to take you a while to get used to the pro game, the physicality, the travel, all that as well.
Right.
I'm just waiting. At some point, Caitlin Clark might go through a slump. I told you she wasn't ready for the WNBA. Yeah, I told you she wasn't good enough.
That's the point. That's the point I'm getting at. There have been some Twitter, a lot of social media, and perceived digs at Caitlin Clark. She's making what, $340,000, give or take. She's got a couple of other deals, but there have been some perceived digs. That point right there, Kris, is the point I'm waiting on when it goes off the cliff. Where I told you she wasn't quality. I told you she wasn't ready. I think the same could be said about Angel Reese. Do you have some folks saying, you know, does Angel Reese deserve all of this notoriety, all of this? To me, that's what you see. I don't think it's hate, but I think it's kind of a wait and see. And I told you so. We've been at this for a while. We're old school. We're OGs. So respect the league, respect the process, and know that this league is different than the league you came from.
Yeah.
So
I think everyone just said it. Loving basketball, they said it best. Never let a rookie take your spot. That's it.
Exactly. But
no doubt.
Guys, let me toss this out to you, because I think this is an example of the growth of the WNBA. Years ago, when I was at Casey with Ralph Cooper, who we all know, he's helped raise all of us, basically, in A-Sound Media, had high school, college players, women's players on the show as guests. Ralph asked them, and sometimes I would, co-host, would ask them who their favorite player was. Hooper. Almost all of them said a fella. They named a dude. But now, if you ask these young ladies who your favorite player is, Asia Wilson.
That's seismic. Yeah.
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 Pick a player, Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi. They'll name women, as opposed to years ago, it was men.
Mm-hmm. That's huge. That's a great point that you
brought out. That is a tremendous point. That's a shift and culture.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, Kris, let's transition. We got the NBA play-in kicking off tonight. And let me. I know a lot of fans have done this. Like, okay, demystify who's playing who in terms of what happens if whoever wins the playing game tonight, what happens after the end? Because you got a lot of people like, okay, I'm excited about it, but I don't know what's about to happen.
Yeah, the NBA has not done a great job of explaining how this works, even though this is not the first year of it. But
Right.
Tonight is the Western Conference teams, 7 through 10 seeds. 7 seed Pelicans, New Orleans Pelicans hosting the 8 seed Lakers. The winner of that game will be the 7th seed. The loser of that game still gets to play.
Mm.
The next matchup tonight is the Warriors and the Kings, 9 and 10 seed. The winner of that game would play the loser of the 7-8 game. The loser of that game is done. So the loser of the 9-10 seed tonight and tomorrow, West and East, is done. The loser of the 7-8 seed still has one more chance to get to the playoffs. And they play the winner of the 9-10 on Friday. And then that winner would be the 8th seed. So the winner of the 7th seed matchups will be the 7th seed. And so they'll be in. Whoever wins the Lakers Pelicans tonight,
mm-hmm.
They're
going to play the Knicks
tomorrow. They'll be the 7th seed in the playoffs. The loser of the 8th seed is not done. They still got one more shot to get into the playoffs. So they have 2 games to play.
Yeah,
in some way, one win.
In some ways, algebra is a little easier than figuring that one out. But thank you.
Yeah, exactly. When did algebra become advanced tree? I'm serious.
But I mean, great matchup tonight. I mean, we got the Golden State Warriors, Sacramento Kings. Kris, look at your crystal ball, man. How does that thing play out?
The Warriors are playing better now. I think the injuries are starting to pile up on them. Mm-hmm. And they're not playing good ball right now, whereas the Warriors are. The Warriors, in their mind, they still have one more run to compete for a championship. I think that window's closed, but I think they'll beat the Kings. How about that?
I take a look at the Lakers-Pelicans game, and as a Laker fan, if you're not a little bit scared of this Pelicans team, you're a little delusional because they can shoot the ball. God, they can shoot the ball. Wilton, I'm curious, man. Doomsday scenario. No Golden State, no Los Angeles. Is it still interesting to you?
Oh, absolutely. There's a lot of talent in the NBA on both sides, especially in the Western Conference. Like, you're not going to be short of excitement. Of course, you still got Phoenix as a 6 seed. You still have Minnesota, a team that, if you asked me 2 months ago, I still didn't put my trust in. But, and looking at, Ant-Man and what he's done to transform that team, and Rudy Gobert, obviously they made it to this point as a 3rd seed. We'll see what they can do in the playoffs. Of course, you have the Mavericks. We know what Luka can do. The team that I really want to see if they're going to really step out of this space of and you talk about injuries, is the Clippers. They've had, so many opportunities. Of course, injuries have played a big factor in what that team could do. But I really want to see if this is the year that they can kind of break out of that. And then, of course, you have OKC. And there's just a lot of excitement. If you don't like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, you don't like basketball. I mean, for a guy to be able to score, distribute, do the things he does, not take very many 3-point shots, and score at the clip that he does. I mean, I just love the way he plays the game. He does it the right way. So if there is a scenario where the Lakers or the Warriors are not there, I think you're going to be in for some exciting basketball for sure.
Mike, let me follow that up and ask this question. Adam Silver, he's wanted parity for a long time. Is it good overall for the NBA if we don't have a dynastic type team sitting out there?
Me personally, no. I think you have parity, but you have to have that dog somewhere in the league. You got to have 1 or 2 teams that really drive the league. And you say, I really want to see, this is my team, but I want to see that thing. Remember, competition drives success in business and any industry. And when you have a team that stand out like that, when you have all parity, to be honest, which is what you have now, the Thunder, Oklahoma City, they are balling. Nobody knows, unless you are really enthralled in basketball or a basketball fan, nobody knows how good this team is. You need that team that everybody knows, and I think you just don't have that. And I don't know how good that is for basketball long term.
I agree with Mike in the sense that people like when the Warriors were rolling, winning championships, they got ratings because folks either loved them or hated them.
Right.
They wanted to see them play, or they want to see them win, or they want to see them lose. That's what the league is missing right now. OKC is up and coming. They're a 1 seed, a lot of young talent. Will they? Typically, the NBA champions go through steps, go through levels. You got to lose in the playoffs. You're going to go through the grind, take that pain from the previous year and go through it. OKC hasn't done that. They have not been through all this kind of stuff. But fellas, doomsday scenario, Clippers, Mavs. Whoever loses that series will be out in the first round.
Yeah.
What happens?
That's a great point. That's a great point. And you know, while we're spending all this time over in the Western Conference, what's happening over there with the Eastern Conference? Is it pretty much the Bucks and Celtics, or is there a chance that New York basketball can make hay in this playoffs?
There's a chance, but if Joel Embiid is healthy enough as a 7th seed, they're beating the Knicks in the first round.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Stephen A. No, I'm not. That's going to happen.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
I mean, there's a chance that I might grow to be 6'5", but you know that just didn't happen. Right. Good Lord, maybe 5'6", and that's it. There's a chance.
You know, but Boston won the East by 14 games.
Yeah.
Giannis is hurt.
Yep.
As good as Jalen Brunson is, he doesn't have Julius Randle. Almost everybody else in the East has something wrong with them. Injuries, pieces missing. If Boston doesn't come through the way it's set up for them in the East.
What about the Miami Heat? What about playoff Jimmy Buckets? What's up?
Well, the thing is, we hadn't seen that same Miami tenacity.
Yeah,
that we saw
where has
last
the same
year.
Miami team been?
No, it's
Where
not.
has that team been?
And that team is playing the Sixers in the play-in. Like I said, they don't have an answer. Bam Adebayo's good. But if Joel Embiid, the big fella's healthy enough, nope. It's not happening. It's just not happening.
This has been fascinating discussion, guys. We're going to have to do it again. We'll come right back here on Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with some final thoughts from our panelists.
If you think all pads are exactly the same, think again. This is Always Ultra Thins reinvented with the Always Triple Protection System. This pad wicks gushes 90% faster, absorbs even more so you can feel dry, and locks odors in. Rethink your pad for up to 100% leak-free and odor-free comfort with the totally reinvented Always Ultra Thins. This is always like never before.
The Cavil Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cavil.
As technology continues to bring changes to the world of education, it's time we also reimagine teacher professional development. Gone are the days of one-size-fits-all learning that can only be accessed at a specific time and place. The Stride PD Center is an on-demand library of mobile-friendly courses that allow educators to learn anytime and anywhere. Our dynamic courses provide bite-sized learning and help educators advance their knowledge while also gaining professional development hours. The best professional development plans are those that include a level of flexibility and choice for educators. Whether you're a teacher, school, or district, visit us today to take charge of your learning.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
And we'll get ready to wrap up episode 501, but we wanted to go around the room and get some final thoughts from you guys in terms of put your sports thinking caps on. What are you looking forward to for this upcoming week with regards to sports?
Who first?
Go for it. You started talking.
All right. Well, let me see what I'm looking forward to. Well, okay. Rockets coach and GM, Ime Udoka and Rafael Stone had their end of season availability this afternoon. Rafael Stone was of the mindset that the Rockets are good enough right now that he does not see a need to make a major change. So I wonder what Rocket fans think about that, because the Rockets, they improved a lot by 19 wins. They finished 41-41, did not make the play-in, did not make the playoffs. Look at the teams in their division. Who are they going to be better than next year without a major move?
Interesting.
My thoughts right there.
Yeah, Rockets scary team. I like what they look like. Wilton, go for it, bro.
I think for me, I'm looking for the Pelicans to bounce back. I know that game is already underway. I was watching it when we were in the break, but I want the Pelicans to get this win against the Lakers to keep their playoff hopes alive. I think that this New Orleans team is definitely one that's resilient. If you've watched them closely, they've had their ups and downs throughout the season, but I definitely think it's a team that's resilient. I also kind of want to see Zion in a playoff setting as well, because obviously last year he was injured, so he didn't get a chance to play. But I definitely want to see the Pels, get into the playoffs. I think also more than anything, you got the NFL draft coming up, as in on Thursday. It'll be a week away, so I'm interested to see what that's gonna look like. Obviously, these new WNBA players getting settled into their teams, excited about that as well. And yeah, like that's my general thoughts.
No doubt. We'll finish it out with the big OG, Big Brother Mike. What you got for me, man?
No, man, just a couple of things. Reiterate what they said. I want to see what this basketball playoff situation looks like. I want to see Zion. Can he finish without getting injured or being available? The other thing is on the SWAC front, the baseball season is getting to where it's getting. Remember when we moved Bethune and FAMU into the SWAC? We were talking about baseball, how it would look. It's getting now to the point that this is the picture we would thought. FAMU, Bethune, Jackson at the top of the East, Texas Southern at the top of the West. This is what we thought it would look like. Wonder how that's going to finish out. And then all of this prognosticating about the draft and this quarterback from Michigan and who's going to do what. We have all of these analysis. I want to see as we move forward, which one's going to stand, where are we going to separate the wheat from the chaff, so to speak. So that's kind of what I'm looking forward for.
No doubt, man. Good stuff. We still got some more spring games left out there. Karen Griffin says Tuskegee spring game coming up this Saturday. For me, I am a huge baseball fan. We got some great baseball action even here in Houston this weekend of the Southern Jaguars. They come to town to take on the Texas Southern Tigers out of McGregor Park. We also got UAPB, number one hitting team in the SWAC. They will be out there at Prairie View. Keep an eye on the Alabama A&M, Florida A&M series. Is Alabama A&M. They travel to Tallahassee. And then Alabama State. They got up off the mat last week, taking 2 of 3 from Bethune-Cookman. They traveled to Jackson, Mississippi for a 3-game set this upcoming weekend. So a lot of great sports. Get out there and enjoy it all. My papa always said, live, love, and laugh. And that is how we will end today's show. But you know how we always end these things. Mike, kick us off, man. Course.
Lecture.
Go for it, Wilton.
Course.
Dismiss.
You come on, man. You flunk.